Well, hey there. I hope that you have been well. My name is Casey, and I'm the man behind Shadows of Morhaven, an action RPG that is set in the fantasy world of Morhaven. It is a solo developed project in Unreal Engine, and it's actually the first game that I've ever made. I've done some modding and things like that in the past, but this is the first standalone video game that I've ever created. If you are new to this channel, then this may not mean a whole lot to you, but I've been on a bit of a hiatus for the past few months, and in this video, I'd like to explain a bit about that, where I'm at in development for the game, and what you might be able to do to help. The game already has plenty of fully fleshed out systems, including character inventory, loot with base stats that scale off of rarity tiers, and loot rolls that have their own RNG to determine relative strength. We have stats for the player as well as enemies. There's a quest system with a log and an on-screen tracker that includes the first main quest and multiple side quests that are fully implemented. We have melee and magic combat, which is a little rudimentary, but it is there. Dialogue, merchants with rotating inventories, a bank, an inn, multiple levels to explore, and a lot more. So I'm very happy to call it a game, as the gameplay loop is there, and it's quite fun, in my opinion, which is a very nice feeling. Before I get into the main topic of the video, I do want to say I am thankful for everyone who has shown interest in Shadows of Morhaven up to this point. Formerly known as Project Heroes, this game has been a dream project of mine for many years, and I feel so very fortunate to be able to bring my dreams to life on such a dope medium like video games. At the time of this recording, Shadows of Morhaven is sitting around 1,500 wishlists on Steam, which is a really cool number, and I hope to continue to grow wishlists as time goes on. Speaking of that, I'll have the game linked in the description if you do want to check it out. A wishlist does go a long way to helping indie developers like myself continue to do this. There's also a free demo linked, either on Steam or itch.io, and I would love it if you took some time to play through that. It's definitely not perfect. There's a few bugs, especially related to camera clipping and some issues with the dodge rolling, but overall I'm very happy with where it's at, and I think that those who have played it have as well, with over 2,000 downloads for it on Steam alone and a bunch of great reviews giving constructive feedback. You can probably get 1 to 2 hours out of the demo as long as you want to 100% it, and I think it gives a decent taste as to what you can expect for the beginning of Act 1 with the game's main storyline and a few side quests. With that being said, I'm very happy with the numbers that I mentioned before, and I want to continue to develop the game as I have time to see them grow. That's where the first major thing I need to talk about today comes in: my time. I spent somewhere between 5 and 6 months from the start of the project to publishing the demo on Steam for Next Fest back in February, 3 of which I took a hiatus from my regular job as a full-time YouTuber to grind out progress on that game, 8 to 10, sometimes 12 hours per day. That wasn't without consequences, and towards the end of that time frame, I was starting to feel a bit stretched in my personal finances. Between investments I was making into the game, like art assets, paid help for marketing, and the gorgeous main theme you're hearing right now. I don't mean to make it sound like my family and I were at risk of starving or anything like that, but I was certainly eating into our savings, our rainy day fund, if you will, and it just wasn't something I felt comfortable with continuing to do as time went on. So after I posted the demo for Next Fest, I took a breather, got back to work so I could try to recoup a little bit of the cash that I had spent over the previous months, touched up some bugs, tweaked some systems based on feedback from Next Fest, but aside from that, I haven't really spent more than a few hours in the editor working on Shadows of Morhaven. However, that does not mean that I haven't done anything for the game. I've sent out dozens of emails with demo reels, pitch decks, stuff like that to plenty of companies that may be interested in partnering with me to publish the game. As much as I would love to do it alone and buck the trend of publishers for indie games, it's just not feasible with my current state of life. If I can trade some profits from the game's eventual release in exchange for financial security from my family, it's a no-brainer for me personally. Up to this point, I've had no luck. Most publishers don't even respond, and those that have let me down softly, but I have had no bites or even really as much of a nibble, so that's where I'm at. So right now I'm at the point where I need to decide how I want to proceed, because it's been almost 3 months since I've worked on the game and I've got so many big plans for it, but just not enough man hours to dedicate to it to see it through without some financial backing. I don't really want to look into crowdfunding just yet, as my research has told me that basically crowdfunding is doomed to fail unless you've already got a sizable following, of which I do not, and thus I don't want to invest time, effort, emotional attachment into an idea that has a really low chance of success. I could also look into early access of sorts, but my main holdup with early access is that in order to participate, you have to release a game that is either A, unfinished, or B, unpolished, neither of which sound good to me. Now, if I had to pick one, I would probably opt into the Baldur's Gate 3, Path of Exile 2 type of early access, where you would release, the first few acts of the game and then release subsequent acts in the early access period before full release. But also, early access over the years has gained a bit of a reputation as the route that developers will take as an excuse to release an unfinished game and then abandon it after making their money, which I definitely would want to avoid that sentiment. So that's where I'm at. I certainly would like to get back in the editor and start cranking out more content for Shadows of Morhaven, as the game's main systems are all implemented and I'm quite happy with the state of it right now, but with 2 young children and a wife, I just don't have the time to do it. I just don't have as much free time as I used to, and it's really hard to work on the game other than taking time away from my job to dedicate to it. So I want to ask you, anyone watching this who may have some experience with what I'm going through, if you've managed to publish a commercially successful game, I would love to hear from you. Likewise, if you'd like to donate your time to volunteer to help various things on the project, I'd love to have you. I'm working on a list of positions that I'd be able to delegate tasks to, and while I can't really promise any financial compensation, it would be a great experience for somebody looking to get into game development, and I'd happily give you your space in the game's credits for what it's worth. The Discord would be the best way to contact me if you wanted to chat with me personally. It's linked in the description and the pinned comment of this video. I would love to chat. Either way, thank you for giving me your time. I hope to see you again soon, preferably with more information about this dope video game I'm developing.